6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Hello, everybody! Welcome to Tomes and Tunes. This is episode 10, and I have special guest right over, there.
Yes,
Kevin Fisher, dear
Hi.
friend and fabulous songwriter. I'm so excited to have you here today, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. I'm excited.
Yeah. So this is the 10th episode. We've had some really awesome guests over the last, 10 weeks now. And, this is one of those fun things that just came up out of the quarantine and being at home. So the very first or second episode, I had a guest on, and I think it was the first episode. And I was sitting with a bookcase behind me, and she was sitting with a bookcase behind her, and we just naturally started talking about books. And that was how the theme of the show started. And so it's for songwriters who love books, or at least love the book you're with, whatever it might be. So first, let me just give a little intro to my guest today. This is Kevin Fisher, and Kevin, I think of you as a Nashville and Los Angeles based writer, even though you live not too far from where I live,
Right.
right? Do you consider yourself the same?
I guess. Yeah. I mean, most of my cuts have been in Nashville, but I'm a Los Angelino my whole life.
Yeah.
So, as far as I'm concerned, if they want to put a bolo tie on my song, that's fine with me.
Fine with you. Hey, by the way, I see that there are some folks already tuning in. So for those of you who are watching, please say hi in the chat box so we can see who you are. Hi, Shane. Hi, Brad. Kevin, do you know Brad Swanson? You guys know
Yes,
each
I
other,
do.
don't
I
you?
totally do.
Brad is on.
Hey,
Feder,
Brad.
Eric, Michelle. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. Give a little hello in the comments. Karen says, this is pretty much all my dreams come true, this combination of things. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Thanks for being here, Karen. And Debbie, hi, sweetie. Um, so, um, so Kevin, I feel like I have known you. I feel like you're like an in-law, like
Yes, I feel that way
essentially,
too. Yeah, I
right?
totally feel that way.
So, do you wanna say how we know each other? I think you'll probably be funnier, but I can say the nuts and bolts if you feel shy.
uh, One of my dearest friends in the world happens to be your husband,
Really?
a gentleman named Darby Orr. If not, I should introduce you to him because you'll love him. He's great.
Considering we're already married, that might be
Well,
unnecessary.
maybe in 10 years you'll have to reintroduce yourselves because that's the way marriages
Oh.
go. You kind of have to go, oh, I do know you. I do love you. I get it. Yeah.
I love that you just called him a gentleman. I hope he's watching, at least even, if not live on the replay.
Well,
You called him a
songwriters,
gentleman.
we make stuff up. So,
Uh,
that's our job.
that's right. That's true. It's not all nonfiction.
No, no.
And the first time I actually met you was, I believe, your birthday, and you and Darby had not talked in a little while, and then he said, hey, come have a drink with me and Kevin to celebrate his birthday. And it was just the three of us, and we were, I don't know what hotel we were in, some lobby at some bar, and you guys were like, I don't remember any of the details except for the fact that you and Darby were like two peas in a pod. I
Yeah,
was like, these guys are absolute brothers.
yeah.
And I think that every time I see you.
Yeah,
I'm
he
thinking
and I
that right
have
now.
very similar sentiments, feelings, senses of humor. We in the band we play in together, Naked to the World, we probably spend more time laughing than we do rehearsing.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
And it shows.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, ouch,
Ah!
ouch.
And for all the folks tuning in, also let us know how it sounds. Can you see both of us? Can you hear both of us? How is it sounding on your end? Let us know in the comment section so that we can make any adjustments as needed. So this is Tomes and Tunes, where I talk about, or I get to listen really to songwriters talk about the books that they love. I'm gonna put our names up. There we go. Um, and Kevin, that leads me to an important question.
Yes.
Are you reading anything right now?
I just started. Their eyes were watching God, and oh shoot, didn't bring. I forgot her name. I just
Zora
started.
Neale Hurston.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Written in what, 47 or 27?
I think you are correct. I think she did write it in the 40s. I don't have it right here either, so.
There were a couple. I don't remember how I got introduced to it, but I read like one quotation from the book. I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And then I read
Yeah.
another one, and I was practically weeping. So I thought, okay, I got to read this.
Huh.
And I'm just, like I said, I just started it, so I don't know what happens.
Yeah. Before, when we were pre-call or pre-show, when we were talking in the green room, I love the idea that it's a green room.
Yes, yeah.
You mentioned the dialect in the beginning, and it goes throughout the book, and I think that was the part that for me made it hard for me to enter the book until recently. And then, when the time is right, and I think the time, the summer has been very right for me to read a lot of our Black American authors. I just, at the beginning, it was like I had to say aloud every single word to understand the dialogue what was happening. But at some point, it just became like fluent.
It's a rhythm, and until you flow with the rhythm, it's complicated. When I first started listening to rap, I was like, it's just going too. I don't get it. It's too much.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, I totally get it, and I love it, and am extremely influenced by it.
Who are you listening to lately?
I am really bummed that Xxxtentacion died a couple years ago. He slays me, just absolutely slayed me. Alec Benjamin. I took my 12-year-old to an Alec Benjamin concert like 6 months ago.
You just blew my mind that you said that you have a 12-year-old.
I know, it's crazy, an 8 and a 12-year-old.
Wow. Okay.
Which they may burst in here if they need something. I told them to give me some space dudes. But, we'll see if that happens.
So you took the older one to the show.
Yes, yeah, and it was an awesome daddy-daughter event.
Oh my gosh.
And Alec, if you don't know Alec Benjamin, run out now. I mean, he's so literate and unassuming. I hope he stays that way. It's just the lyrics are brilliant. The melodies are brilliant. The rhymes flow by like they're not even there.
Huh.
That's what Robert Frost said about poems. Is you want to take the rhyme like they're not even there. So,
like
and I
that.
feel Alec Benjamin does that.
Wow.
It's just beautiful.
Very cool. I feel like we're at like two roads and I want to go down both of them, so then I'm like frozen in between. To go back to the Zora Neale Hurston that you're reading right now, you just started it, so you probably, and you don't have it next to you, so you probably don't have a quote or passage.
The quotation that got me, it stole my heart. I printed out in case, because I couldn't find it in the book. Unless, it's not a big book, like maybe 180 pages, 90 pages. But I wasn't going to thumb through all of them. So I just, I Googled it.
Do share.
Should I share? Okay.
Yeah.
When God made man, he made him out of stuff that sung all the time and glittered all over. Some angels got jealous and chopped him into millions of pieces, but still he glittered and hummed. So they beat him down to nothing but sparks. But each little spark had a shine and a song. So they covered each one over with mud, and the lonesomeness of the sparks make them hunt for one another. This beautiful, this annihilation at the hands of the gods due to jealousy, and yet the fragments of hope still exist. It resonated with me.
Fragments of hope. I have that. I wish I had brought my copy in here to talk with you about it, because I do also have dog ears throughout it.
Right.
And the writing is lovely, and in the end it's what's the main character's name?
Forget.
Yeah, me too. I forget too.
Carol
She
Burnett.
is. What'd you say?
Carol Burnett.
She's magnificent. She's so powerful,
Mm-hmm.
and yet she goes through all of these tough times, and I just I can like picture her in all the. It's a real anecdotal book. It's a,
Right.
she goes through event after event, and you see how she grows, and um,
Did you ever
yeah.
read Angle of Repose by
No,
Wallace Stegner?
no.
Oh my God, it is so beautiful and yet deathly depressing. It's like every chapter is like, I just can't do this. I can't go on anymore. But the sentences were so beautiful, and
Yeah.
that sort of victory in spite of annihilation, which, that just may be a sort of BS academic theme. That
Yeah.
if you're in the middle of it, there's no victory in that.
Yeah.
But reading it from afar, it makes poetic sense to me.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Jimmy Gottlieb, thanks for mentioning it. He says that your volume is quite low, Kevin.
Oh,
So
okay.
can you
Sure.
either get up on that?
I'll
Get
get up
up
on
all on
I'm
that
gonna
microphone.
get up on it. Is that
Yeah.
better?
It's better for
Is that-
me.
okay.
Yeah, we'll see
All
what
right.
Jimmy has to say about it.
Thank you for letting
Um,
me know.
yeah. Um,
Let me see if I
yeah,
can-
I'm a sucker for beautiful sentences, and so after reading Their Eyes Were Watching God, I came to this one, Beloved by Toni
Oh
Morrison.
yes,
Have you read this?
I have. It was like been 20 years ago, but at that point I read everything that she wrote.
Yeah, actually, I finished this a few days ago and started reading Love by her. Have you read Love?
You know what? Maybe I didn't read that. Maybe
Yeah.
I didn't read everything.
It's the
That-
only
that
other
doesn't-
one of hers that I have in the house, and so I thought, well, that's the one I'll read. I want to read Song of Solomon, but her writing is gorgeous as well,
Yeah. Definitely.
and her sentences are beautiful also.
Invisible Man, Ralph Ellison.
I have it on my shelf.
Dude, read that.
Okay.
Because the sentences are not only the sentences are so beautiful, but there's this one point where he makes the narrative is okay, and then he goes and makes this life-changing, profound speech in front of everybody, and it moved the crowd. And you're thinking, okay, just going to leave it at that. And next chapter, after the speech, he makes the speech, and the speech is exactly what they said it was going to be. It was like, I mean, you're just shivering. You're just motivated. It's like, watching Obama in '08. It's like, oh, yes.
Beautiful orator, Obama.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. That's a hard thing when you're as a writer. To first tell us, the reader, how you're gonna feel with the speech.
Right.
That's dangerous territory
Yes,
because you
totally.
could fall flat.
Oh,
you know?
if you suck, then it's like, oh.
Yeah,
That
it's like
kind
someone getting up there and say, "Oh, this is really funny." Already your defenses are up.
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh yeah, prove it."
Yeah,
Okay, that's the next one on my list. I've got it on my shelf.
that's really beautiful.
Yeah. I didn't pick a passage to read. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm going to just open it to a dog
Open it.
ear here. Okay. I didn't underline, so I'm not exactly sure what I dog-eared on this page, but shall I go?
Wait, please do. What book is it? I forgot. Would you
This
say?
is Beloved. This
Okay,
is from Beloved. Yeah. And by the way, hi Mariami and Dolly. Nice to see you guys here. Okay. Who knows where we are in the book? I don't know. It was a tiny church, no bigger than a rich man's parlor. The pews had no backs, and since the congregation was also the choir, it didn't need a stall. Certain members had been assigned the construction of a platform to raise the preacher a few inches above his congregation. But it was a less than urgent task, since the major elevation, a white oak cross, had already taken place. Before it was the Church of the Holy Redeemer, it was a dry goods shop that had no use for side windows, just front ones for display. These were papered over while members considered whether to paint or curtain them, how to have privacy without losing the little light that might want to shine on them. In the summer, the doors were left open for ventilation. In winter, an iron stove in the aisle did what it could. At the front of the church was a sturdy porch where customers used to sit, and children laughed at the boy who got his head stuck between the railings. On a sunny and windless day in January, it was actually warmer out there than inside if the iron stove was cold. The damp cellar was fairly warm, but there was no light lighting the pallet or the wash basin or the nail from which a man's clothes could be hung. And an oil lamp in a cellar was sad, so Paul D. sat on the porch steps and got additional warmth from a bottle of liquor jammed in his coat pocket. Warmth and red eyes. He held his wrist between his knees, not to keep his hands still, but because he had nothing else to hold on to. His tobacco tin, blown open, spilled contents that floated freely and made him their play and pray.
Play and pray, that's beautiful. I love that.
Wow.
That's nice.
And I forgot Paul D. is living in the church cellar at this point in the book. So, but I know now why I dog-eared it. It's such a beautiful description, and I love how it tells us kind of the history, that it was a dry goods store before it was the church, and, kind of takes us to this, describes the whole place before it brings us right back to Paul D.
Yeah.
And to tell us about him.
I like the line, the preacher was just a few inches above the congregation. I think it'd be a better world if preachers were only a few inches, and even better than that, a few inches below the congregation.
Right on.
That would be actual humility.
Yeah, same level playing field too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the idea of, the idea of worship, not even in a building and not where it's being lifted up to the heavens, but,
Oh, totally.
in the woods, like out here,
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the church and traveled all over the world. I was actually a missionary. I went to the former Soviet Union.
You did?
Yeah, carried Bibles through Red Square, across the tomb of Lenin, Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, and I just don't enjoy church anymore.
Yeah.
I just saw the underbelly, and has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with any particular doctrine.
Yeah.
It's just the whole, once we put our fingers on it, it's sullied somehow.
Right.
To me, I have my own worship stuff.
Yeah.
That works for me.
I think a lot of people can understand that.
Hey Jimmy, just quickly, this is the front of my mic here. It's not here, so I'm not quite sure what to do. I see your comment, and I appreciate you trying to figure it out.
Yeah, you sound better to me now.
Okay.
But you could. It
I
wouldn't
turned
hurt
up a
if you
little
were.
bit.
Yeah.
Even more?
Let's see.
Okay, I just don't want to get so much noise. Here we go.
Check
Better?
that out. That's cool.
Okay, not too noisy? Not too
No.
much white noise? Okay.
No.
All right, cool.
I didn't know that you had been a missionary and
Yes.
that you traveled the world.
I played guitar in a gospel band.
Wow,
And
Kevin.
it was one of those things. It was awesome for so many reasons. I saw so much of the world, tons of Eastern Europe, Poland, all over what was then the Soviet Union. So all the way up from Estonia down to Yerevan. We were like 40 kilometers from where Noah's Ark is purported to be. It was pretty awesome.
How old were you during this time?
I was 20. I took a year off from college.
You contain multitudes, my friend.
Yes. John Yoko Ringo Paul.
So tomes and tunes. We did the tomes part, talking about books, and
Yes.
you're reading Zora Neale Hurston right now. I'm reading Love by Toni Morrison, and we shared our passages. I feel like before we got on the call, we just, like, you were pulling books. I don't know where you were pulling them from, but you were just like this book and that book and the other book. And I have a whole bookshelf here, but not a lot of. I have a lot of journals on this shelf, a lot of my own. I'm not going to read you any of those. That would be a bad scene.
I like to spice up my conversation by quoting myself.
But I will tell you that I'm teaching I teach at a local university, and I'm teaching a memoir class right now.
Oh, wow,
And
cool.
one of the books that we're going to be reading this quarter is, you might not have heard of this one. It's called Mean by Miriam Gerba.
No,
And this is a beautiful book, powerful. So I'll just say that that's one thing that's right here.
Cool.
So yeah, but let's hear some music.
Okay. Speaking of hope,
You guys are all in for a treat. Kevin is one of my favorite songwriters in the Los Angeles area.
thank you. Outside of Los Angeles, not so much, but within the confines, it's like I'm tops, man. I roll. Get out near Fresno. Oh, there's 7 people I love more than you, pal.
You're the best. You're the best songwriter on your street, Kevin.
Thank you. I had a guy who will go unnamed, who's a pretty big writer, and his band is pretty big, and he said to me, Kev, oh man, you are my 9th favorite writer. Like, and I'm thinking of all the people he knows. He goes, oh, all right, I'll take that. That's pretty cool.
That's so funny. What is this song that you're gonna play today? Is this a new song, an old song? What is this?
It's a few years old that I kind of recently fell in love with. I hired a Nashville singer to do the demo, and he just killed it, loved it, love. So I'm in love with it again.
Cool.
I don't have a lot of faith in where we are in this human race. I'm not sure we're heading for a braver world, a better place. I'm afraid that we might hang ourselves. Lord knows we've got the rope. But against my better judgment, I still hope. I hope my kids will see one day a world where all kids laugh and play, and no one has to be afraid anymore. And soldiers all put down their weapons, and we're happy for each other's blessings. Chances are slim, I know, but I still hope. I hope all hungry hearts are fed, that sleepy eyes all find a bed. I know I'm only saying things that everyone's already said, but I'll say it till I lose my voice if saying something makes it so and justifies the reason I still hope. I hope my kids will see one day a world where all kids laugh and play, and no one has to be afraid anymore. And soldiers all put down the weapons, and we're happy for each other's blessings. Chances are slim, I know, but I still hope. Call me a dreamer, I'm not the only one who hopes their kids will see one day a world where all kids laugh and play, and no one has to be afraid anymore. And soldiers all put down the weapons, and finally we all learn our lessons. Chances are slim, I know, but I still hope. Chances are slim, I know, but I still hope. There. Now, in return, what do you have? Let's hear it.
Oh,
Come on. I want to hear your lovely song.
Kevin, I just love your songwriting, and
Thank you.
thank you for playing that. I've heard that song before. It might have been, you played at church in Pasadena. I think it was around the holiday season last year.
Yes, was that
And
the one that Dave Morrison put on?
It was.
Yes.
And you might have
Love
played
Dave.
that song that time.
Probably do.
And Naked to the World, your band, with Darby and Daryl and all the Daves.
The Daves, yes, the Dave Club.
You guys played a show January 4th, I think it
Yes.
was, at Russ and Julie's house concerts. It was
That
their first show
was-
of the year.
Yeah, we thought 2020 was going to be sort of a revival year for us.
Yeah, and I thought I was going to just make that show, and I didn't because I was.
I know you were sick, weren't you?
Yeah, and I didn't
Ah.
have COVID-19.
Okay.
But yeah, it's interesting to think back of how anemically I started this year, and
But
you know,
you're
but
100% now?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
long time. Yeah, ever since the rest of the world got sick, I got better.
See how you
Which
are.
is not a good relationship. But yeah, Naked to the World though. So for those, I just want to mention that band. For those of you who are listening, you can find Kevin's songwriting both under Kevin Fisher and also under Naked to the World.
Right.
Right. I thought I would play this song because I have a personal connection with you regarding this song.
Okay.
First of all, in two ways: the very beginning of the song, and then also the very end of the song. The beginning of it was that you and I were sitting in your backyard, and we were talking about who knows what, and I said something about beans to bank.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Do you remember that? Instead
Yes.
of like, instead of, from what is it, rags to riches,
right? Yeah.
right? And we both sort of paused at that moment, and and I was like, I better write that in a song, otherwise Kevin's gonna write that in a song maybe. And
But I love those pauses because those pauses are saying like, okay, this is either really stupid or really cool,
yeah,
and I better
yeah.
decide soon because someone else is going to pick up on it, and
Yeah.
it's really cool.
And so
Really cool.
I still don't know when all songs are weighed in heaven, which way the scales will tip
Right.
on that line. But then, and in part because I was recording it for the album that I just released a couple weeks ago, and the producer called me up Shane Alexander, he was a guest on the show a few weeks ago, and he called me up a couple of weeks before we were set to start recording that song, and I was out in Pennsylvania for something, and I remember, the phone ringing, I answered it, and we were talking about who knows what, and finally he got to the point of the call, and he said, we got to talk about the beans. I did not know what he was talking about when he mentioned it. I was like, what beans are you talking about? And he was like, beans to bank. And I was like, So we actually debated. We ended up debating that line, but I still liked it and put it in the song that we recorded. But then you came back into the picture as I was literally driving to the recording studio
I remember
put
we
down
chatted.
the vocals for this song, because there was one line that I still was not sure about, and there was still that question of the beans. And we talked. I was in the car for about 20 minutes. I think we talked for 11 of those.
Yeah, we chatted a while.
And then I got out of the car and walked into the studio and recorded the vocals. So this is how it ended up. So I thought I was gonna play another song, and then I thought, let me do this one. I couldn't get it out of my head thinking about you being here. So this is called Laugh About It, and I was thinking about the reasons couples fight. This old roof is full of leaks. It's dripping in the kitchen, it's been raining for a week. We're fighting over money again, yeah. Barely making do, holding on to dreams. Gotta choose between the house and a tank of gasoline. It ain't too funny now, no. But the day's gonna come, honey, when we're gonna laugh at all the days we counted every penny. And we're gonna laugh at all the ways our pockets came up empty. One thing I always think is I got you beans or bank. We're gonna laugh, 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 laugh about it. Catching drops in a pail. The storm is never ending and we're trying to fix the sail. Need something lucky now, yeah. Babe, don't turn to your side. Let's meet in the middle and swallow our pride. It ain't too funny now, no. But the days are gonna come, honey, when we're gonna laugh about the days we counted every penny. We're gonna laugh at all the ways our pockets came up empty. One thing I always thank is I got you beans or bank. We're gonna laugh, 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 laugh about it. Forget about the check account. Take account of all the gifts we've got right here. And I am swimming in your love. Wouldn't trade it for $1,000,000. We're gonna laugh about the days we counted every penny. And we're gonna laugh at all the ways our pockets came up empty. One thing I always thank is I got you beans on bank. We're gonna laugh, 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 laugh about it. We're gonna laugh, 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 laugh about it. So that's laugh about it.
I love the dripping in the kitchen line. It's just
Yeah.
anything that trips off the tongue like that, I love. And beans your bank, man. That's a great line.
Thank you. See, you and I are the two people in the world that like that line. And I'm good with that because
Yeah.
I just, you're Kevin. That was so nice of you, by the way, that you muted yourself while I was playing, and I didn't even think to do that while you were playing.
Oh, I was so insulted that you didn't.
That
I
was
mean, I was just heartbroken. No, I just thought I could hear my kids out
Oh, yeah.
just on the patio, and I thought, okay, if they come in, it's going to be a tumult.
I want to say something about one of your kids. Whenever someone around in this household is upset and our shoulders go forward and kind of droop our head and maybe the lower lip comes out and the feet start dragging, someone else in the household always says, "Oh, you're doing a Jakey," because there was that one time.
He, for a while, until we figured it out, he was super moody, and he'd get upset at stuff, and he would just literally do the wild
I
and crazy
know.
guys thing where he'd be up, when they were upset. And then we took him off gluten, and in 24 hours, he never went back to that.
Say what?
So say all you want about that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
It was pretty phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an easy fix.
Turned out, I mean, it's not always that way, but turned out we did gluten, cheese, sugar, dairy, sugar, and then we reintroduced, a little bit of dairy, then a little bit of dessert,
Right,
and then
right.
he was fine. It was just the gluten, and he knows it now. He goes, if he accidentally has something, and he's not celiac.
Yeah.
He's got
But
a
it
gluten
just-
sensitivity, which is
Yeah.
a whole different ballgame. He's not in any danger
Yeah.
other than just pissing everybody else
Yeah.
off around him.
It was pretty phenomenal though when he was little and he, got upset and he would totally it's the way cartoons,
Oh, totally.
an animator would animate a character if they were sad. They would do the
Totally.
Jake.
Yeah, they did the
Yeah.
Jake.
Kevin, thank you so much for being my guest on Tomes and Tunes.
I'm
It's
honored you asked me. Thank you so
awesome.
much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I would love to, do this again, or actually, I should ask this important question. Do you have any live stream shows coming up where people can catch you?
I have been recently thinking about doing that. I go in phases where I want to perform and then I don't want to perform. I just want to be quiet in the studio.
Yeah.
And the last week or so, I've been thinking, I want to play. So
Yeah.
I'm figuring out, how to do maybe even a half-hour show, just something that I could have fun with and share songs with people who want to hear them.
Well, definitely make sure that I hear about it because
I will.
I, as you know, goo goo gaga over your songwriting. So
Thank you.
would love to catch that show. Um, and for me, I just have my Friday nights, every Friday night, Arielle's acoustic happy hour at 5:30 Pacific, so 8:30 Eastern. So that's it for our show tonight or this afternoon. Thank you all for coming. Kevin, thank you for being here. Stick around, Kevin. I'm gonna pop over here and just say thank you everybody that for showing up and for watching the replay, and please comment so we know that you're here. And every Thursday, Tomes and Tunes, come back next week for another songwriting guest. TBA. I'll see you next time.